You can never be too strong for something, but you can be too weak for something. How do we feel about me bringing the hats back into the mix? I was thinking about this the other day. I was pondering some thoughts, as you often do. I was thinking, I feel like my head is a bit naked and a bit lonely, and I was wondering if people would want me to bring the hats back into videos, because it was just a bit of fun, nice little element of something different in the videos. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on that in the comment section below. We're actually spicing it up, something slightly different. Oftentimes when I speak about things in the video, it's very much hypertrophy focused and about that kind of stuff, but not today. Today we're actually going to be looking at Natacha, because she's released a new guide, one that combines running and strength training. So it's improve your running, build strength together, my new science-based guide, which is obviously called Hybrid. And we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give my opinion on things, and we're going to go from there. Before we crack on the video, I must very quickly say, if at any point throughout this entire video you decide that you actually tolerate the video, maybe even arguably like the video, please let me know you like the video by liking the video, and maybe even by clicking the red button down below and subscribing to the channel. Perhaps even the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week, twice a week.
And if you want to be perfectly equal, perfectly balanced between the two, then I'm actually really sorry, because I don't have a schedule for that. Like, I didn't even think about it until now, which doesn't really make sense, because joking, there's a schedule for that.
There's actually this big misconception that running and strength training can't go hand in hand. And ultimately, so I used to coach a couple of people who were training for a marathon back in the day. And there's actually some research supporting the benefit that resistance training can have on your running performance, even when considering long distance runs such as marathons and whatnot. If you improve how much force your muscles can output and improve how efficiently your muscles are working, is that not going to then in turn improve how much force you can output when running, how efficiently your muscles are working when running, and potentially even the muscular endurance side of things, in which case your muscles can go for longer without building up too much accumulative fatigue. Strength training and running can really work well together. And obviously a lot of people over summer have adopted running. It is a very nice form of cardio or just fitness in general, but you can be outside, you don't need to be isolated to the gym or your home.
So what are we trying to achieve with Hybrid? What goals are we trying to reach? The first is building muscle and strength. Mentally, it is so empowering to feel strong as hell.
So there's this powerlifter back in the day called Mark Bell, who always had this quote in which he stated, strength is never a weakness. And I fully back it, and that's very relevant here, is you can never be too strong for something, but you can be too weak for something. If I said pick up 100 kilos right now, there is a chance that you may not be strong enough to pick up 100 kilos, but no one is ever too strong to pick up 100 kilos. I think the thing with goals and goal setting is you obviously have to kind of be realistic with things. If you want to be a bodybuilder, running is probably not going to help you get there. You need to channel all your focus into resistance training. Whereas if you actually want to be an effective runner and an efficient runner, doing 5 days in the gym, heavy weights all the time is not going to get you there. But doing some resistance work can help you achieve those things. Identifying what you want to achieve and whether what you're doing is going to help you get there.
In terms of running, the basis of our running will be slow runs. So that's like running at an easy, comfortable pace, but for slightly longer durations.
Again, this kind of slow run method is actually really commonly utilized in long distance training. So for example, like I said, when I had clients who were training for a marathon, they would often utilize slow runs where they would run really slowly, almost barely beyond a fast walking pace, but just for really long periods of time to build up that tolerance and that endurance to be able to run for extended periods of time. Not only is this relevant to like the muscular standpoint, so your muscles can tolerate that much, and also the cardiovascular standpoint, but also the mental standpoint. The thing that so many people overlook when it comes to any facet of exercise, how important the psychology and mental side of things really is. So if I'm saying run for 5 hours, mentally you need to be in a position where you could do that, because that again is going to be extremely psychologically taxing. Slow runs for longer durations of time can help build up that essentially psychological or mental tolerance. Okay, so let's have a look at the splits. So we've got lower body strength and hypertrophy, upper body strength hypertrophy, 50 minutes. Yeah, this is good. The thing is, you're not going to want to be in the gym for mass amounts of time. You don't want to do excessive volume. No, I'm not a big fan of excessive volume anyway. Okay, let's look at equal focus schedule. Lower body strength hypertrophy, run specific gym training. Yeah, love this. 50, 20, call it hour and 10. Valid. Up to 50 minutes, full body power. Yeah, really split well. Again, 5 training days a week, which is fantastic. I fully back 5 training days. Typically, I say for most people, anywhere from 3 to 5 is a really good number. The running focus schedule, have a look at this. So you'll bit less resistance training, but still 2 resistance training sessions a week. I fully back that one. Again, like I said, I was training with marathon runners. They would usually do about 2 resistance training sessions a week. So that literally aligns with how I treated things. Again, hour and 10 varies. The slow runs may be a lot longer depending on your focus. Obviously, if you're a marathon runner, they may be very long. But again, that's something you have to build got that tolerance for. This is fantastic, really good. Resistance training focus, again, I kind of predicted about 4 days and 1 slow run. Again, that's valid. I think 4 resistance training sessions a week is bang on. Like, I think anywhere, like I say, from 3 to 5, depending on your goals. 4 with 1 run in there as well, it's fantastic. Arguably, you could do 3 and 2 as well. Again, I think an hour is a good number for a lot of people. I back this. This looks fantastic. Genuinely, this looks really good, and this is very much how I would structure things if I were essentially structuring this. Because not only are you doing lower body strength and hypertrophy with run-specific gym training earlier on in the week, full body functional muscle building, which is going to be a bit less fatiguing and taxing from like a CNS and muscular standpoint before the slow run. That's good, and obviously slow runs are going to be really good at building up, like I said, that cardiovascular endurance, potentially muscular endurance as well, and also psychological endurance too. It seems like all the sessions have 2 rest days a week. I think that's a banging number. I actually had someone message me the other day about how often I think people should rest. I said everyone, I believe, should have at least 1 rest day a week. My preference, myself personally, is 2 rest days a week at least. For people who want to train 3 or 4 days a week, again, more rest, fantastic. I think 3 rest days a week is fantastic. Again, it ultimately comes down to you and your recovery and what you're trying to achieve. The fact that Natacha has included 2 rest days a week whilst also including all of the other fun stuff regarding the gym and the running training is brilliant. I would say for someone who is training in this hybrid manner, I think 2 rest days a week is fantastic and is pretty perfect. But the thing to remember is rest days are only one element of recovery. You have to ensure that you are tracking and being in control of other variables too. So are you sleepy enough? That's going to be a big thing when it comes to your recovery. Are you eating enough, and are you eating specific for your goals, like enough protein, enough carbs, things like that? Again, big thing for recovery. Are you drinking enough water? Again, something a lot of people overlook and something people really actually do struggle with is drinking enough water. All of these things play into your recovery, not just the rest days alone. So it's about ensuring that not only are you resting enough, you're doing things on top of those rest days that will help you recover. Because at the end of the day, if you cannot recover from the sessions you're performing, that's going to limit the progress you're able to make, which is then in turn going to limit how satisfied and happy you are with what you're trying to do, which again also in turn could negatively impact you from a self-esteem perspective and arguably even a mental health perspective too. Ultimately, any form of training, any form of exercise is meant to enhance your life, not hinder it. If it begins hindering your life because it's negatively impacting your self-esteem due to recovery issues and inability to achieve the goals you set for yourself, negatively impacting your mental health, whatever it may be, that is then hindering it and something that needs to change to allow it to then enhance your life again. Very quickly, I've got to plug the bits and bobs. In the description and maybe even the comment section too, you're going to find some links. Those links could be either for TFNL coaching, where you can either work with myself or Ryder on a one-to-one coaching basis, regardless of whatever your goals are. We can help you achieve them. There's an application form down below for you to fill in if you so wish. The TFNL group coaching link, so if you work out at home or at the gym and want a more affordable means of coaching, which is arguably potentially less than your Netflix subscription, gym workouts and home workouts, so you can choose between either one that suits you. I also have the TFNL workout guides down below, so if you fancy a growth guide which has lots of information surrounding resistance training and just a body in general, as well as 30 weeks of programming, that's obviously linked down below as well. And obviously on top of that, there's a home workout handbook, which is also linked down below, which essentially moves that all to the home workout side of things. On top of that, they have actually a few things pending and coming up. 2 more guides releasing next month. So we've got a glute specific guide and an upper body specific guide. They're pending, they're in the works. And on top of that, a new Train Heroic program is also releasing at the beginning of July, first Monday of July, I believe, in which you can train like me. I'm going to be training how it's presented through group coaching, and you're going to be training literally exactly the same as me. Whatever you're doing, I'm doing that week as well. So if you fancy something a bit different and fancy training like me for however long you wish, have a gander when that drops on the first Monday of July. Oh, so we're going into a sample workout, lower body strength hypertrophy, week 1, 50 minutes. Squats, 4 sets, 5, 5, 12. Yeah, that's good, that's good. So essentially 5, again, bottom end of the hypertrophy rep range, also very good for that kind of strength building. 12, so you get a bit more endurance based in there as well. Again, depends how you define like strength versus hypertrophy versus endurance rep ranges. I don't necessarily think it's that easy. I think having some low rep work as well as some high rep work in there is definitely a good shout. Contralateral kettlebell rack lunge, 3x12 side. Again, bringing some core stability here as well, because again, prevent that bending, going to be fantastic. Hip thrust, again, one thing that people really overlook when running is glute work. Again, the glutes are going to be very important when it comes to essentially getting power off that initial push from the foot. Shortened position glute work here is fantastic. 6, 6, 12, 12. Again, mix of lower reps and slightly higher reps. I think that's really good. Good technique as well. You see how Natacha's maybe going a little bit lower than necessary, that's fine, but her shins are very vertical throughout a lot of it. Plate snatch to knee drive. Again, a bit more functional here, a bit less hypertrophy and strength driven, a bit more, like I said, movement driven. It's good getting some hip flexes in there with the knee raise, which again, going to be very important when you're running. Step up to knee drive. Again, things like this. Obviously, the step up is a fantastic movement to work the glutes and the quads, especially the glutes in their length and position. So now you're getting shortened glute and lengthened glute. Also, the knee drive, again, additional movement could be more functional, more calories burned, and again, a bit more hip flexor involvement through that kind of similar range of motion you'll be performing performing if you were running, again, where you are getting those hip flexors into the mix. Again, with this, I think ultimately you could do any hamstring curl variation, really. It could be a seated, it could be a lying, it could be this ball hamstring one as well. I think the thing here is just ensuring that you're going through some movement with that knee flexion, where you're obviously bending the knees against resistance. Now it goes into the run specific gym training bit. This could be interesting. This is a bit different for me. So again, side plank hip dips, again, fantastic. So the obliques are very much responsible for like rotation, anti-rotation. When you're running, you are going to rotate slightly. So this is good. You're getting some good core movements in there. Very valid. When it says obviously 30 seconds per side, I would just make sure you're doing the same number of dips per side. Again, lots of movement here, getting the heart rate up, getting the calories burning. Again, respect it. Again, similar movement to when you are obviously performing the running movement. Superset is a superset. Calf raises 3 times push machine. Again, yeah, calf raises again. I think ultimately when anyone does any kind of running, you're going to notice your calves are going to be very tender and very sore. What I would say for the calf raises though, is I would try and do them on an elevation where you can obviously get a lot lower. And then obviously that allows you to get more of a stretch in that position, because the calves do respond really well from loaded stretching and those stretch position movements. So on a Smith machine with a box would be great. Pogo jumps, again, some explosive power coming from the calves in their shortened position. Honestly, really good. A lot of the movements included there are very simple but effective movements. Not only is she utilizing a lot of the basic and I think standard strength based or hypertrophy based movements like the squats, etc., but she's also then merging some things into more of a running specific motion where you're getting that step up and knee drive. So you're bringing the hip flexors into it and you're trying to mimic more of a running pattern or motion. Also, she's also getting a lot of glute work in there. So again, she's not neglecting a muscle group that are going to be really important when it comes to the output of power when initiating or performing a running motion. Yeah, I think it's genuinely really good. I've always been a fan of Natacha, and although running isn't my area of expertise, I understand and know enough. I used to be a long distance runner myself. That's actually my background before I got into training, like resistance training for MMA and then obviously powerlifting and bodybuilding. I was into long distance running, like cross country and whatnot. So I can fully respect and appreciate this and think a lot of time and effort has gone into this. Arguably one of her better guides in my personal opinion, potentially even from what I've seen just this basic overview. It's promising that it might be her best guide, but I'd be really interested to potentially actually look at the guide itself and get the program itself and maybe have like a proper review and analysis of it if that's something people would wish to see. So again, let me know in the comment section if you want me to do that. But from an external overview perspective, I think it looks really promising. And if running and resistance training, that kind of hybrid approach to training, is something that appeals to you, I definitely think it's worth investigating further. I won't do a comment question of the week this week because again, I have been waffling for a long time. I think this might be a very long video. Just know there are some pending. I have some saved and some bloody good ones at that. But that is it. That is the video. Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating a slightly different topic today, talking more about the elements of running and essentially summer training to an extent. And thank you for tolerating the video.